Ashley here, and today I'm going to show you something that just recently really popped up on the Color Street scene, and I wanted to share it with you guys. So it is called the Faux Braided Manicure. Ta-da! So I've had quite a lot of you ask me why I've never done a video on the braided manicure. And I have a couple different reasons why. My main reason is that there's already so many videos out there on it, and there's really good videos on it. So I didn't really feel like I needed to recreate that. I would rather bring you original content and new ideas rather than something that 20 other people have done a video on and done a really good job on it. So my second reason for it is I honestly just don't really like it. None of the look. I love the look. I think it's gorgeous and really, really beautiful. I don't like having that many layers of a nail strip on my finger. So when you take the braided manicure, you have, I don't remember if they start with the base coat or not, but you have 3 or 4 different nail strips interweaving, and as you get down the nail, you have a thicker and thicker layer. And I find that if I have thick layers, it's really hard for me to pick up things, and I just don't like it. So if I'm going to do something that is super, super thick on layers, I will do it on one of these last 3 fingers because I don't use those as much to pick up things. I'm never going to do something really thick on my pointer fingers, on my thumbnails, because those are the ones that I use the most, probably followed by my middle finger. So I don't like the thickness of the braided manicure, which is a big reason why I really haven't done it, but I absolutely love the look. So this is a really, really great alternative because at the end of the day, even if you use clear as day, it's only 3 layers, and 3 layers is not bad. It's about the same as what I do with any other nail strip. I'm gonna have a base, I'm gonna have a design layer, and then I'm gonna use my clear as day. So 3 layers isn't that bad. It's when you get to kind of a 4th layer that it starts getting a little too thick, and a 5th is terrible. So I also like that on this one you have like a negative space. So you could technically do this on naked nail, which would be cool, but you have, on this one we're going to be doing the Maid Milan. So it's a really, really dark color coming through all these other fall colors. I feel like you could do this look any season. I might try to do something for Christmas because I think the Christmas colors would really pop and look cool. So anyway, those are kind of my reasons why I haven't done the braided manicure. Sorry, that was a long explanation. Bad. All right, anyway, so we're gonna get started. What you're gonna want is a pair of scissors. That's gonna be real important this time. A pair of scissors. I highly recommend both a wooden cuticle stick and a rubber tipped. You don't have to have these, but I feel like they're really gonna make your life easier. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I have a feeling these are gonna be needed. And then your prep pad, because you always need a prep pad. Like, our fingers are dirty, guys. We need a prep pad. So clean your nails. So first, wash your hands, preferably with a degreaser like Dawn dish soap. Only time I'm ever going to tell you to do that. Otherwise, use regular hand soap day to day. Before this, really cut through that grease. And then you're going to want to use your prep pad on the pads of your fingers and the tops of your nails. Always, both, because the pads of your fingers, you're going to be touching stuff and they're greasy. So now we're going to talk about nail strips. Okay, so this is a really great manicure to use if you have a lot of leftover nail strips. Now, Color Street does not guarantee, actually, this is a one-time use product. Color Street is not going to tell you to reseal the strips. As a matter of fact, they discourage you from doing it because every time they're exposed to the air, they dry out a little bit. So your second use of a manicure is going to be drier and probably not as good a quality as your first one. Just know that. But know that I do it all the time too. So user discretion. I did put a second layer of Maid Milan over the tips. I did this manicure like almost 2 weeks ago, so I put some fresh ones over the nails that I'm going to be doing this with, just so I had a fresh coat and it was pretty. But I already could tell that the Maid Milan felt a lot drier than the first time I applied them. So just know that. So I'm going to go over the original picture, which if you see me looking over here, that's because I have the picture pulled up on my monitor over here so I can kind of follow along. I'm going to show you what the original stylist that I saw this from used because it's a gorgeous combination. I'm going to use up some of my leftover strips, so I'm not going to use the exact same colors that she does, but I wanted to tell you 2 different options because I think the one I'm going to do and the one that she has done are both really, really pretty for fall. So she started off with Maid Milan. We both, well, I can't tell. She might have done, no, it looks like Maid Milan. She might have done Midnight in Manhattan, but it looks like there's red in it. So we both did Maid Milan here. And then she did Swiss and Tell, our white strip. with coming up rose gold over it. So I'll show you in a minute. You want to layer that before you put it on your fingers. Then she used Moscow or Never, which is that really pretty bronzy penny color copper. Then she used Seattle Royale, which is a sheer strip. So this one actually layers over other stuff. Woo, zoom. Layers over other stuff really, really well. So if you have something under Seattle Royale, it's going to peek through. If you have an ombre glitter like Bloody Gorgeous or Underground Magic, anything that has an ombre, this looks really pretty over. So she used Seattle Royale, which you'll see, I'll show you the picture later. You'll see that it shows through. It's sheer. I'll show you her picture later because you can actually just pause the video. After you watch and see the technique, if you just look at the picture, you can pause it on screen and just kind of follow it along. So if you're in my VIP group, I'll go ahead and post the picture when I post the video so that you can just look at the picture. The last thing she does is she uses Clear as Day to layer over the whole thing to really seal it in. Anytime you have a whole lot of little layers and bumps, Clear as Day is really, really important in my opinion. Okay, so what am I going to do? Because I'm going to do a little bit different. Okay, so she used Swiss and Tell with Coming Up Rose Gold over it. I'm actually going to be using last year's Thanksgiving strip. I did not put these in the freezer, so I'm interested to see how dried out they are because I haven't opened them since November of last year, and it is October of this year. So anyway, it is it's kind of an orangey glitter, so it's going to have a similar effect to the rose gold. But I'm going to use that. I am going to use Moscow or Never. I happen to have some in my stash left over, so I'm going to do the same thing as that. Now, instead of using Seattle Royale, I'm going to be using the new Chelsea Later, which is obviously a very, very different color. This one's champagne and this one's more like a corally color. But the reason I chose Chelsea Later is because it is also sheer. I think Seattle probably is maybe a little bit more, but I do know that Chelsea Later is sheer, so I'm hoping the Made in Milan will also show through. So, you know, slightly different. Mine's going to be a little bit more of an orange and gold, which is perfect for October, and hers are a little bit more on the more neutral metallic shades because she has, you know, the gold in here and then the copper and then rose gold. So a little bit different, but it's going to have a really similar effect. I wanted to show you both because they're both going to be really pretty combos. So let's actually get started. Sorry, this was a long intro, but let's get to it. All right, guys. So first things first, put your base layer on, whatever color that ends up being. Mine is Made in Milan. It looks very black on the camera, but it actually has a slight reddish brown tint to it. I love this color so much. And after your base coat, we're going to want to go ahead and apply our strips. So I'm actually just going to pull out 2 of each nail strip because I think that's all I'm going to need. And I might end up even needing less than that. But I'm just going to do these 2 nails as accent nails of this look. So I'm going to pull out 2 nail strips of each color and we're going to start with that. All right, you see that I have all of the colors that I want here. I've got my second ones over to the side here. And I also went ahead and put all of these back in their original packaging and I've sealed them back up. So the reason why I did that is I know that I don't want to leave these open. They've already been resealed one time, so I just removed what I thought I needed, put them back in the package, and resealed them. And I'm putting them with my stash. So that is just to ensure that they don't dry out anymore. If you take them out really quick, that's the least amount of exposure. So I'm going to work with these first. This is white Swiss and Tell. And this is I think it's called Thanks a Million, old set. So this is where she used the rose gold. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take the plastic off of both. And we're going to go ahead and layer the Thanks a Million over the Swiss and Tell. So why we do this is because you don't want to try to layer a thin strip of white and then also layer this again over it. So this is to ensure that we are showing the glitter through with the white background. So this is, let's see, I don't know if I have a sticky note somewhere close. Yeah, you guys know I like sticky notes. It just gives me a lot more control. I like it. I need to get some more that has like the entire backing. All right, so I've got my white down there. I took the plastic off of both and I'm going to very carefully layer this. And it is a slightly different shape. Your clear glitter overlays are just a tiny bit smaller than your regular nail strips, if you didn't know that. Okay, so I've got that there. Next, I'm going to take all of these and I'm going to cut strips, basically. So you want a square look, so I'm actually going to go ahead and find where it's rounded and I'm going to cut the tip off of it. We don't need the tips, like so, so that we have a square end to work with. We want that square end. And it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Nobody's looking that close to your nails. All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm actually gonna cut quite a bit off the tip here because I want more glitter, and there's only a little bit of glitter on this end. So I'm gonna kind of cut pretty close to that. Perfect. And now I'm gonna cut strips. Again, these don't have to be perfect, guys. Like, just kind of freehand it. It's no big deal. Just kind of gonna get very similar width, but ain't the same width. No big deal. We ain't gonna sweat it. All right, and this one is a little wide, and I'm just gonna trim the curvy part completely off of it. Okay, so this is why I told you to get your wooden cuticle stick, because it's gonna make it easier to get that backing off. So you could just lift it up, but then you're stuck with a lot of stickies. And I guess you could cut it all the way down to where each one of these has a tab. That'd probably be smart, but I'm not doing that. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these off. Like so. So my hope here is that we can actually get a couple of these per nail. We shall see. So I'm kind of looking at my picture just because I'm very visual, and I'm gonna kind of go ahead and start this way. So I'm gonna start with my Moscow or Never. I'm just gonna start by layering it on the very, very edge of my nail here. So I'm gonna have to use this to get the excess off. But we're gonna wait and let it cure for a little bit, because if you watch one of my previous videos, I talk about when you're working with thin strips like this, before you really take off excess, let it cure at least 5 or 10 minutes. That way it's adhered to the nail very well. So let me go ahead and get this off here. For precision purpose, I'm gonna go ahead and use my cuticle stick to help lay down the nail strip. So I've kind of got it where I want. Then you can use your finger, or I'm going to use this cuticle stick here to go ahead and smooth it down. Now I have enough here to go ahead and do this nail, so if you want them super matchy-matchy, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of cut this. Okay, so I went ahead and just kind of laid it there, and I'm going to go ahead and smooth it down as well. Okay, so you got your first little piece here. So I just kind of have it around that. And you're probably going to smooth it a couple times because it is kind of wanting to come up. Just make sure you're smoothing it really well. The next layer I'm going to do is going to be this glitter piece here. So this could be your rose gold. It's whatever you decided to layer, or even if you didn't do a layer over Swiss and Tell, maybe you chose another color. But this is color number 2. So I mentioned the thing that I really liked was this leaves a negative space. So you're actually going to see the Made in Milan. So when you're lining it up, just make sure that you're leaving a little bit of gap here, which is why I like using these tools rather than my hands, because it's a little easier to see. So making sure to leave a little bit of gap of Made in Milan, and then I'm going to take this and press down really good and then smooth out this way. This is a point where there's probably enough where you could cut this and maybe use that again as well. So we're going to do that. So the next color I'm going to do is color number 3. And what I'm going to do for color number 3 is I'm going to line it up here as well. So if I had done this a little bit better, I could have got this in the center where this part here could have been moved over a little bit more in the center. But I'm just going to go ahead and layer my next color here and layer it here. So layer 3 is going to be a line along here, and then also right here as well. So my color 3 is Chelsea You Later. So we're going to try to line it up where it's square with this one, and also lines up with the angle we already started here. So I'm trying to get that squared up against the glitter layer, and then squared up against this layer here. And now that I've got it lined up, I'm going to smooth it down. And I'm going to go ahead, there's plenty left over on the side over here. I'm going to go ahead and snip it This is where probably cuticle scissors would work the best, not these like craft scissors. Then I'm going to take it over here and layer it this way. So I just kind of want it where I have a little bit of the Maid of Milan showing through like this. And as I start to go down, you'll kind of understand this part a little bit better. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and smooth that. And there's not going to be a whole lot of this one showing at all. So I've got color 1 here, color 2, 3, and then 3 is here. So I'm going to do color 1 again right here. This is why having your ends being a square is so important. All right, so again, we're wanting to line it up square here and then also keep it aligned right there. All right, so I got that one where I want it. It took me a couple tries to get that one. I do want to remind you that anytime you have a first layer down here, or if you have a base coat on, this is going to stick immediately. It's not going to stick like it does to your nail. So don't smooth it down until it's exactly where you want. If you just press it in one spot to try to get a line, that's fine. But once you kind of smooth it down really good with your finger or your cuticle stick, it's on there. It's done. Okay, so the next color I'm going to do is going to be color 2 again. We're going to do color 2 right there. I'm going to see if I have enough here. I think I do. And I'm going to take the square edge. Oops. Now I'm not sure if it's going to stick well. This is also why clear as day is good, because with how much I'm touching this, it's probably not going to want to adhere perfectly. All right, yep, I got enough. So I think I got that about where I wanted it the first try. Okay, so smooth it down. Like so. All right, and then next is going to be the Chelsea-lator here. Color 3 is going to go this way. So let's get another Chelsea-lator. All right, so my Chelsea-lator is going to be right, that's not quite square, so I either could cut that off or I go again right here. So I'm lining it up both angles here. There's not a whole lot left on the edge here. Okay, it's just a very, very light little bit like that. Okay, so you have the choice where you could, if you want, you could put a little bit of Moscow. We'll try it. Could attempt, because I have just a little bit left here, putting a little bit of Moscow right there. I don't know how well that's going to work because there's such a tiny bit that would be stuck to the nail. We'll try it though. Okay, I think I got the Moscow. So there's not a lot there. I'm going to fold that and I'm just going to kind of tuck, because look on the Moscow, like there's the tiniest tip of that Moscow there, but I think it does look better with it on there. So I'm going to do that. And really, I'm going to go ahead and start working on this. I'm going to use the end of this Chelsea-lator and maybe this Moscow here to kind of work on this one again. So I'll come back in just a second when I have this one done. Okay, so I've got the groundwork laid down. I actually got both of these done with just one nail strip of each color. And you see I have a full Moscow or Never Left, and I have one of each of these other colors that, actually that's a full strip. So that's Chelsea-lator and another Moscow end that I could use on these fingers over here. So if you're just gonna do 4 fingers, it looks like 2 nail strips of each color is going to do you fine. So anyway, I'm going to get rid of this. What you want to do now is, even though you should have been using your cuticle stick, your rubber cuticle stick, or your fingers to really smooth down as you go, give it another once over really good, making sure, especially on this part of your where your cuticle area is, make sure that you are getting really well down into those creases. That way it's not pulling up. And all along your sides too. So smooth it all the way down and then kind of get in that crease. These you want to tuck the edges over. That way they're really sealing down nice. Like so. You can use your cuticle stick to kind of rub it along the edge too. And then go back along here. And just make sure you're getting over everything. That way it's pushing down and curing really nice to that original nail strip that you have as a base layer. We'll do that again over here. All right, so what do you do next? You sit tight, 5 or 10 minutes, because I just finished this one up. So I need about 5 minutes. And the reason why, if we start cutting here, along this edge here before it's really kind of hardened at all. When we start poking on it, it's going to start moving this nail strip around, and you're not going to have this really crisp, pretty design. So I'll be back in a minute. All right, we're back. We've been curing. We're ready to go. I am going to file the ends first. I'm not really saying there's a right or wrong way to do it. So you can start with your ends. You can start with getting the sides, whatever. But I'm going to do my ends first. Make sure you do this really good. You're filing straight down, not side to side. You want to make sure it's completely detached. And then I'm going to kind of go get my sides. Okay, so I got that torn away. Do this side over here. Again, if you do this before it's hardened, it's going to move on you. And you'll notice, because if you watch it, it'll start to wiggle. If it's doing that, put your file down and wait a little bit more, okay? Promise, it's worth it. All right, now we're going to We're going to knock out these edges. So we're going to push, we're going to find where the edge of the nail is, and we're going to just push and perforate. And this one is a double layer. Keep in mind, it's Swiss and toe with an overlay. So you're going to have to be patient about it, and you're going to have to go back and forth and just push real gently, just pressing down into it. And you can kind of press and then wiggle, turn a little bit, but don't completely rip it away till it's ready. So we're just kind of pushing until it's perforated. And I finally have it completely away from my nail. It's not attached anymore. So I'm okay to go ahead and scrape it off. You can use your thumbnail, absolutely, for this. But I really like the precision of the cuticle stick. So, same thing. So we're going to want to go in an arch shape. It's really important. A lot of people have trouble cleaning up this area of their cuticles. So that's why pressing it down really well with this, because if you look, you can see where my nail is. I pressed it down. You can see the flat of the nail. So just make sure you're going along that flat. Be extra gentle on this part. It's a little bit less sturdy than doing the sides because it's straight edge. So just be patient. Push down and go back and forth. And if you do that, if you don't tear, if you just push real gently and go back and forth, it'll eventually tear, and then you'll have a really nice clean cuticle area. You're not gonna have a weird jagged one. Just don't tear. Just gently go along that edge, and now you can see that it's completely away. Boom. You would have never known that this curve right here was not one of the pre-made edges like that. You'd never know, because I was real patient. I didn't tear. I didn't pull. Just go in a circle. All right, let's do the rest. There we go. Done. One nail strip of each color to do 2 fingernails. Gorgeous. Is it perfect? No, absolutely not. We're not going for perfection. You want perfection, go get a machine to do it. This is art. You want art, get a person to do it. So here we go. Beautiful dunsies. I am going to show you how to do clear as day over it. So that is it on the design work. But if you want a few tips on clear as day, stick around. Clear as day, if you don't know, comes with 2 in a pack. So for $11, you get 32 nail strips. So on solids, I do recommend on solids either doing a double layer, which is what I have. I currently have a double layer of Made in Milan. But if you don't do a double layer, I highly recommend clear as day. You're going to have a longer wear on your solids, because with the glitter ones, they have that glitter layer in there, which holds up a whole lot better than the solid, which is just the nail polish. So the glitter really makes a difference in the holding up of the nail polish. The design work are going to be multiple layers, because each design is a layer of paint. So they're going to have a little more hardiness to them as well. Solids are more fragile. Also, if you tend to get cracks in your nails, or you show a lot of ridges, the double layer is going to help a lot. And I think it's the lighter shades show the ridges less, but the darker shades show the cracks less. Maybe I got that backwards. All right, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Okay, anyway, we're going to do clear as day real quick. Show you my little tips on that. So, clear as day. Love it. I didn't use it for a long time because I'm like, where would I want that when I could just use a liquid top coat? Make sure if you use liquid top coat, do it an hour after you apply, especially with solids or it'll bubble. But once I actually started using Clear as Day, I did it when I started doing nail designs, and honestly, Clear as Day makes such a difference. It's worth that $11 to have 32 nail strips. That's like 5 manicures, if you think about it. All right, Clear as Day. Start at the base. When you have design work, what you want is where the cuticle stick comes in real nice, is I'm gonna go along the base real well, but then I'm gonna go along each crack. All right, we've got ridges, we've got layers, we've got bumps. We don't want any air pockets showing through. That doesn't make for a pretty manicure. So I'm just gonna be patient with it. Nail art is not for the impatient. Just gonna let you know that if you didn't already, okay? And I'm just gonna slowly kind of smooth it out, just a little bit at a time. Make sure I'm getting into those little cracks and then going up over the bump. And I'm kind of going middle, and then I'm working out, but I'm not working all the way down. So normally on a nail strip, I'd say go down the center. With this, you're not gonna go straight down the center. You're gonna go center out is kind of the pattern we're doing here. So I'm just making sure to get along, I try to get along the top of the nail strip. So this is the Moscow or Never. Then I'm going into the dip where the Maid of Milan is, okay? And I'm not going all the way down either. I'm just gonna go into the side, getting in that crack, and then I'll move on to the next area. This just helps you from getting, it does two things. It helps you from getting air bubbles, first off. And it also is gonna make sure that your design is all kind of welded together. So even if these strips are old and they're a little dried out, as long as you get them to kind of stick to the nail strip, once you put that Clear as Day over it, acts as like tape or like glue that's gonna really hold the whole thing together, which is something a liquid top coat can't really do, because a liquid top coat is done in layers and it's gonna peel up in layers too, whereas the Clear as Day is printed in one sheet. And it's really gonna act like a piece of tape over it in a way, but it's nail polish instead of tape. Okay. So that's kind of with any design, it's gonna be the same way. This one is a little more tedious because you have a lot of cracks that you're going down. But, okay, so see, I just tugged and laid down on the end because they're kind of towards the end. But this is the same kind of concept no matter what kind of nail design you're working on. Just kind of work your way real slow down it and make sure you go down anywhere that's gonna have a lip. You're gonna get down into that lip. Okay, so now I've kind of really got it. So I'm just gonna kind of tuck it over and I'm gonna get the excess off. I don't know if that's gonna be enough for this one. Maybe, we'll try it. There we go. All donezies. Beautiful. I feel like this would be really pretty in like a pink base too. With probably like a darker color on the back, and then like the Capitol Hill would be really pretty in the place of this because it's got that gray background with that chunky pink over it. Or maybe something like the Less Bitter More Glitter that has the pink and blue glitter would be pretty on this too. So I'm really interested to see what other people end up doing with this. Please send me a picture if you do. I'd love to see a bunch of different combos, and I might revisit this again maybe in the springtime or something. But there it is, the Faux Braided Manicure. I like this a lot better than the traditional braided, just because I like that really, really dark color poking through, and then it really, it just pops against the rest of it. So anyway, hope you like it. I hope it was able to see. I think I kept my hand in the camera a little bit better than my last video, and I apologize for that. But I hope this helped you out. If you have any questions or have a design you want me to try, just let me know. I'll be happy to give it a shot. And yeah, that's it. So go out there and be creative.